I'm Jacob Helmrick with the agency by Tariq El Musa, powered by eXp Realty, and today I'm going to cover the step-by-step process to purchasing a home. So the first step and the second step actually go hand in hand, and you'll want to start both of them very early on in the process. So step number one would be to find a real estate professional to help you with the transaction. And step number two would be to get pre-approved, which means finding a lending specialist to help you through the transaction. And like I just mentioned, these can really be taken in either order. If you already know a lender, there's a good chance that they may know a realtor that they could introduce you to. Or if you already know a realtor, there's a good chance that they have a lender that they can introduce you to. So regardless, it's just a good idea to find someone, reach out to them, let them know that you're interested in buying a house, and then they can help you get started and moving the process forward. Now, when it comes to realtors, if you don't already have someone in mind, I absolutely recommend reaching out to a couple different people. You can just search them on Google, look for them on Facebook, Instagram, any other social media channels, or you can ask friends or family members to see if they know anybody, but I recommend reaching out to a couple and find one that you're comfortable working with. Same thing would go for lenders. Reach out to a couple different lenders, compare rates, compare programs that they have, make sure that you feel comfortable with them as they are going to be guiding you and helping you with what will most likely be the largest financial decision you make in your life. So after you have the lender chosen, you'll be able to get the pre-approval process started, and this is critical to your home search. This is going to do a couple of things. Number one, it is going to help you hone in on your budget. You're going to know if homes are out of your price range, or maybe you're surprising yourself and you can actually afford more home than what you thought you could. This is going to make it a lot easier when actually searching for homes and when you go to look for homes, knowing that amount that you're pre-approved for. Another reason that this is beneficial is it is going to save you time and headache. You're not going to be looking at homes that you're not qualified for. You're not going to be wasting your agent's time or your time by looking at homes if you can't even get a loan for that home. You're also going to be wasting the seller's time by doing showings when you're not even approved to purchase the home that you're going to look at. And worst case scenario as well, if you end up falling in love with the home and then you find out you can't get approved for a loan on it later, that's going to cause you some unnecessary heartache that could have been avoided. To 100% absolutely get pre-approved before looking at homes. That's going to make the process go a lot smoother. It's going to save you time and money and hassle throughout the rest of the process, which leads into the next step, which is actually going to view the homes. So steps 1 and 2, finding your realtor and finding a lending professional, kind of go hand in hand. Like I said, those can be flip-flopped if needed, but those are both important to get set up so that you could get pre-approved and you have trusted people working for you to help you find your home. So step number 3 is going to look at homes. So sure, there could be a little sub-step in here as well. Of course, you want to narrow down your criteria, and I could definitely do another video on how to do that later. But after you have your criteria set, you can actually begin looking at homes. You are a pre-approved, ready to go buyer. So showings are super simple. It's an easy process. You can just reach out to me and I have the keys to the city, actually the whole state of Wisconsin. I can get you into any home. And if it's outside of the range that I typically work, I am more than happy actually to connect you with someone in that area. I do have partners all across Wisconsin, all across the globe. So when you find a home you like, which typically will just come from me actually, I could get you set up on a customized home buying plan. And part of that home buying plan is getting you set up to get notified when new properties become available that match the criteria you're looking for. So whenever you're notified of new homes that you want to go take a look at, you could just reach out to me and I can schedule that showing super easily. And as soon as the seller approves that showing, we're good to go see that house. So we'll do the showing, and one thing I like to note is to, especially in today's world of technology, you always want to be careful what you're saying. So people nowadays have all sorts of security devices. So they have their Ring doorbells, they have other just cameras throughout the house, or even Alexa devices, are perhaps listening to you, or I think homeowners can maybe listen through those. So you just really want to be mindful of what you're saying while you're in other people's homes. There's actually two approaches that you want to be mindful of with this. The first thing would be to completely bash the house or talk about price while you're in the home. This could actually hurt your chances of getting the house if the homeowner is listening to you, and it could hurt you during the negotiation. And the same could be said about saying really good things about the house as well. By talking up the house a lot, if a seller hears that, they may think that you don't need a price reduction because you absolutely love the house. So you really want to be mindful of what you're saying, because unfortunately, you don't know who's listening. So just be courteous, be respectful, realize that you are touring someone else's house, you are a visitor. So you really want to be kind, respectful, and save any of, the really hard negotiations. Absolutely do not talk about numbers in the house. And, it's really just a good idea to, save a lot of those conversations for after you leave the property, and you can have that open and honest conversation with your realtor. So after you've looked at homes, or maybe if you're lucky just one home, it's time to make an offer. So the offer will have all the details of the house purchase in it. And this has things from the closing date to the earnest money to the inspection dates and any other contingencies. And ultimately, this is an agreement between you and the seller. And so you will get together with your realtor and you'll go over the details of the offer based on the terms and the conditions that you want to offer on the property. And then when you're ready, you submit that offer. So after you write an offer on a property, the seller will then have to respond to you. So they'll work with their listing agent and they will decide what they want to do. If they either want to accept your offer, reject your offer, or if they want to counter through negotiation. If the seller decides to counter your offer, they can negotiate anything that they want. So this can be a number of things, like perhaps the purchase price, or it could be the closing date, just moving that date either forward or backwards to whatever best fits the seller. So there's really a number of things that could be countered. And this is where it's, again, important to have a realtor that can help walk you through this step and let you know exactly what these changes mean, because after you get a counter offer, you then have time to review the terms of that counter offer and see if you agree to those terms and you would like to move forward with the offer, or if you would like to further counter this and go back into further negotiating. So this is the point that, it can take a little bit to negotiate. You can go back and forth multiple times. Sometimes it's just once. And ultimately, hopefully you can all work together and come forward to a deal. If you can't, though, this could be the point where the deal could just be dead. And at this point, you would have to go find another house, or perhaps I guess you could come back, if you change your mind, and write another offer that maybe the sellers would agree to down the road. But, at this point, if you can't come to agreement, you'll have to walk away and go find another house. But if you come forward to agreement, then you move on to the next step, which would be the contingencies of the deal. So the next step is working through the contingencies of the deal. So the most common contingencies are going to be your inspection contingency, your financing contingencies, and your appraisal contingency. So typically your appraisal contingency is kind of a part of the financing contingency. So in this sense, the bank actually will require you to get an appraisal on the property to ensure that the value of the home is high enough for them to actually lend out money. So if the appraisal, just to keep math simple, let's say you're purchasing a $100,000 house. This house would need to appraise for that $100,000. If the house does not appraise for $100,000, let's say it only appraises for $95,000, then there's an extra $5,000 that needs to be accounted for that the bank won't loan out on. So the bank will only loan you $95,000, but you wrote an offer for $100,000. So at this point, depending on the terms of the contract, there's a couple options. So at this point, either you can pay $5,000 to make up that difference, or the sellers can actually reduce the price $5,000 as well. Or again, if you can't come to a term on how to solve this issue, the deal could just be dead. So the inspection contingency is a chance for you to get the home inspected. So you're able to have a professional inspector come in and inspect the home, the foundation, the windows, the roof, the garage, anything about the house that you put in the offer, they can inspect. And this is just to cover or uncover rather any defects to the home, anything that could be detrimental to either your health or perhaps the value of the property. Now, I will warn you that no inspection report will be a clean bill of health. Those just don't exist. Even on new built homes, there's usually something that an inspector will find in that home. So just because the inspector finds something in the inspection report does not mean that you need to sound all the alarms and you need to, back out of the deal, because you most certainly do not. But what the inspector will do, they'll just make you aware of any issues. And again, depending on how that deal is constructed originally, you can negotiate then with the seller on, if any repairs are needed, or prior to closing, if you want the sellers to fix any of those defects, or perhaps they'll just credit you back some money to take care of it yourself, or perhaps they're really not a big deal to you at all, and you just want to move forward with the house. And again, a lot of that is, or all of it is dependent on, how that offer was originally constructed and the terms with the inspection contingency. Those are some of the options, and again, things that the realtor will be able to help you work through with the process. Then kind of the third most common contingency would be that financing contingency. So kind of to go back to the appraisal, that's part of that as well. The bank will need the appraisal to finally get you your loan commitment. And the loan commitment is just the final stage that the bank does. They do all their underwriting, all their homework on you, your finances, your debt to income ratio, everything to make sure that you're ready to go and that they're comfortable loaning you this money for the house. And that's really the final step. So after the bank gives you that loan commitment, at that point, if your other contingencies have been satisfied, then at that point you're ready to move forward to closing day. So the last step then to purchasing the house is the closing day. And this is exciting. Finally, the buyers and the sellers, they can all come together. The sellers can sell, the buyers are buying. It's a great day for everyone. So a lot of the time, actually, in Wisconsin, at least in southwest Wisconsin, the buyers and sellers will do closing together. Now, it's not always this case. Sellers can either do it separately, they can do it before the buyers, after the buyers. As long as it happens by the day that we all need it to happen, it's good. But typically, a lot of the time they'll all close together. Closing is typically done right at the title company, and they'll go over the final paperwork with you, get some signatures, the deed is transferred, and ownership of that property is transferred that day, and then congratulations, you're a new homeowner. So that's a very quick overview of the step-by-step process of what it takes to purchase a home. So certainly there's more details along the way, and again, that's why it's crucial to have a trusted real estate professional like myself here to help guide you along the way, and why it's also critical to be working with a lending professional that you trust and that you can count on to get the job done. There's lots of steps. Really, it's not meant to be overwhelming. The process can be long and tedious, but certainly if you have the right people in your corner working with you and for you, it can make the process a lot more enjoyable. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions on the home buying process. I would be happy to assist you with that. I'm more than happy actually to just set up a complimentary customized home buying plan for you. You can schedule that just by clicking the link below. If you found any value to this or know of anyone who would find this helpful, feel free to give it a like and give it a share. And you can schedule that call with me just by clicking the link below, and we can go over your situation, because I know everybody has their own unique situation, so we can dive into you, find out how I can best serve you, who I can best connect you with, so that we can work together and move forward in the purchase of your home.